Hello and welcome to another Foreman community demo. Please note that this demo is being recorded, so if you have problems with the live stream, you can watch back at a later stage. The weather today is a bit ropey, so I'll post the recording if the live stream goes down at any time. And if you have any questions during the course of this live stream, please feel free to reach out to us on Freenode IRC or on the YouTube live chat, as both will be monitored. Before we begin, just a few short announcements. So with the first release candidate for Foreman 2.4, there was a plugin test pipeline failure due to a systemd reload issue, but a fix for this will be included in the second release candidate, which is due to land around February 16th. For the most part, there are no major issues with this release candidate, so please test the release candidate to get a preview of the upcoming features and also to help make this release as stable as possible. And in other news, as part of the ongoing effort to improve the host details page, we have a new survey around how you use substatuses. By completing the survey, you're helping to shape the future of the host details page and make it as relevant for your system as possible. A link to this survey should be in the YouTube video description at the moment. If it's not, I can drop it there. I think I put it there. There will be a link. There's a link put up on Twitter, and there should also be one today posted on the community or discourse page. So if you have any questions, please feel free to, if you have any feedback, if you have any concerns, any priorities, please let us know there and help shape the future of the host details page in that way. And I think that's absolutely all I have for you at the moment. So our first two demos today will be from Ondrej. They will be around configuration status click-through to report and a ForemanPuppet plugin release update. So I will open the floor to Ondrej when you're ready.
Yeah, thank you, Mani. Hi, everyone. I hope you can see my screen. I will start with the Puppet plugin release. It's just an announcement that with the 2.4 Foreman, we will be already packaging the new plugin. And with that, you can see these nice warnings on all Puppet related pages. To remove the warning, just install the plugin, but at the moment the plugin is not fully production ready, so be aware, but please install it on your testing environments and help us to make it production ready. That's it for the Puppet, and then just a small feature that was actually not done by me, but by Marek Hulan. So kudos to Marek, and it's just a status click-through, as we've already shared with previous videos, the execution status click-through and the overall engine to make the statuses clickable. This just adds the click-through for the configuration status. So as you can see, the status is now clickable, and the most relevant it's for the error, and it takes you to the errored configuration status. It's less relevant for the out-of-sync configuration, which will also take you to the last configuration report. There was an argument about going to list of the configuration statuses instead, but as you already heard from Melanie, there's going to be a new page, the whole remake of this page, so we decided just to go with the simple solution to help some users till the new page is released, and we will figure a better solution for that page. That's it for me.
Thank you very much, Ondrej. I will just take a quick look, and there is a slight, there's the usual slight delay between us speaking and what is being broadcast. So far, I do not see any questions, but if you do have questions for Ondrej or any of the speakers, just feel free to pop the question in at any time, and I can ask out of order also. So let me see now. Our next demo is from Jonathan, and it is to do with an update for the katello-agent deprecation.
All right, thanks, Melanie. My screen sharing should be showing up here now.
Yep.
Great. So I'm here today to share a little bit about what is going on recently with katello-agent. If you are a user of katello-agent, you've probably seen some notifications in our release notes or in our user interface around how it's deprecated and being removed in Katello 4.0. And you probably are also aware that Katello 4.0 is kind of right around the corner. We're building the RC1 of that right now. So what is going to happen? Well, we've had a kind of a change of plans. So here are some things you should be aware of, and particularly what has changed. So it turns out that katello-agent actually will not be removed with Katello 4.0. Despite all of this communication we've had before, we've slightly gone back to the drawing board and thought about how we can do a little better in this area, right? And by that, I mean, we've been advising users of katello-agent to go and use remote execution, which can achieve all the same things that katello-agent does, but it uses SSH in order to remotely connect, install package updates, and so on, rather than katello-agent, which uses a message queue for the client to actually connect and receive the actions that it is supposed to perform, rather than creating that SSH connection. And some folks like that for valid reasons. So you may be aware that the katello-agent functionality hinges around Pulp 2, and Pulp 2 is going away in Katello 4.0. So how is katello-agent going to be working? Well, we've actually re-implemented all of the functionality that Pulp 2 was doing in Katello itself. So in Katello 4.0, things are going to be working seamlessly, but without Pulp 2 in the picture. So we have kind of no middleman there. So that's actually really nice. But katello-agent is still going away in the future. And we are going to continue to provide updates around that. And in order to make that even more clear, we're kind of drawing a line and saying that in Katello 4.1, which is months away from now, new installations of Katello are going to have katello-agent disabled by default. So all of those package actions and things are going to default to remote execution. The SSH method of remote execution, that is. And if you want to use katello-agent, you will have to kind of instruct the installer to do so. Otherwise, that functionality simply won't be there. However, we are working on an analogous replacement for katello-agent, one that does more of a pulling than pushing, like remote execution does today through SSH. However, it's going to be part of remote execution. We're calling it the pull provider. And like I said, it's going to be more technically aligned and workflow aligned with how katello-agent is working now. So that is coming in the future. And once that is available, we don't really have a date around that to share, but when it is available, katello-agent will remain available in the sense that you can toggle it on through new installations, or it'll continue to be enabled for existing installations for about 3 to 5 releases once that pull provider is available. So you have the opportunity to make a decision. Do you want to switch to the SSH style of remote execution, or do you want to keep the katello-agent style of pulling and use the pull provider functionality of remote execution? And we have an RFC out on our discourse. If you're curious about the details of the poll provider, there's the URL. Feel free to browse through it. Most of the discussion is around the technical aspects of it. But if you have some feedback from the user experience side, that would be a great place to add your feedback and input as well. And that is all I had to share for the katello-agent update today. If you've got questions about it, feel free to ping me on IRC. I'm Jay Terrell, and you can also tag me on Discourse if you'd like to start a discussion thread there. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Jonathan. That's great. I will just check. Just pause a moment. So if you are a slow typer or you're getting this on a delay, just feel free to drop any questions or comments into the live chat as the questions come to you. But for the moment, I don't see anything, so we shall move on to our next demo. Thank you very much, Jonathan.
Thank you.
And up next is Partha. And Partha will be talking to us about Hammer commands for simple content access and import and export. So please.
Are you able to look at? Are you able to see my monitor?
I sure am, Partha. Take it away.
Beautiful. Okay. So there's two disconnected topics. Like one is on SCA and the other is on import export. But both of them had Hammer updates that I wanted to highlight, so I just combined them. So by default, you had this checkbox you could use in the UI to enable or disable simple content access. We can now do the same via Hammer. So if you see Hammer simple content access, so if you see there are two commands, enable or disable. So you can. In my case, it was disabled here. So I'll enable this organization. Yeah, okay. Let's reload this page. And ouch, hold on. Maybe I was in the wrong organization. Okay, so yeah, so you should be able to. Oh, it's enabled here. Okay, sorry. I was in the wrong. I had a manifest that didn't have simple content access, I guess. Never mind. But you're able to enable and disable using the Hammer command. I also want to show another one, the import export stuff. Let me go there. So here I have an organization. Let me see. Products. Okay. I have an export organization with like 3 content views in it. With 3 content view versions in it, I meant. And I think I showed in the deep dive also where I export these guys. What is new now is there's a new column called type that tells you whether the export was incremental or not. So if you did content export list, so you see this. Yeah, it's kind of kludgy, the formatting here. So hold on. You see the 3 things here. You see something called incomplete, complete, incremental. That you have a type column there, and that's the new addition. It's just, and so you can now query based on saying show me only the incremental. So if you see this new column called type, I can say type equals incremental, and it'll only show you the latest incremental exports. Complete. Same story there. Yeah, that's pretty much what I had for this demo. Any questions?
Thank you, Partha. So far, no questions, but we will just allow a minute just for the demo to, for people on the live stream to have a chance. No, I don't see any questions, Partha, so I think we shall move on for now. Thank you very much. And up next we have Samir, please, with your Smart Proxy Content View repo content page.
Thanks, Melanie. I'll start presenting. All right. Can you see my screen okay?
It's perfect, thank you.
All right. So today, this demo is around some of the work we have done on the content tab of Smart Proxies. So in a previous demo, we talked about the new Smart Proxy sync history record, which we introduced to allow Katello to keep track of what repos and content views are synced to the Smart Proxy. So in this demo, we are trying to demo how we are using the Smart Proxy sync history on the content page. So if you go to the content page of any Smart Proxy, you should now see a page similar to this. And it will show you all the environments and all the content views that are tied to that environment and whether or not it's been synced to the Smart Proxy. So before this demo, I ran a complete sync. So basically everything is right now synced to the Smart Proxy. And so let me demo quickly how this works. So let me go to one of the content views that's already been synced and add a couple of repositories to that CV. So I've turned off the Smart Proxy right now because if you publish a new version, it automatically syncs it to the Smart Proxy. So, but in this case, since the proxy is off, all right, so now we have the content view sync. So if we look at the content view right now, so it will tell you that it's not being synced to the Smart Proxy. So to fix that, we can spin up the proxy quickly. And give it a minute. This is up now. Let's run a quick optimize sync. And once this sync completes, we should be able to get into the content tab and see that it was synced. So let's check this. All right, so yeah, once the sync completes, we should be able to have the details of the sync to the smart proxy. And yes, this was pretty much it for the demo.
Thank you, Samir. You're still demoing on the live stream, so just pause for a minute. Allow it to catch its breath. And if anyone has any questions, feel free. And if not, we will move on to the next demo. So up next is a first-time demoer, Manisha. You're very welcome. And you're going to demo two different things for us. So the first is registering content hosts with different operating systems, and then a content view filter for apt repositories. So in your own time, to share your screen and get yourself set up and started. Thank you very much for coming today.
Yeah, thank you, Melanie. Can you see my screen?
I can indeed.
Okay, so first I'll start with register content host. So we have this register content host page on Foreman that shows the set of instructions on how to register a host, but it was only available for CentOS and Rail. But there are users who use different operating systems, and they have different sets of instruction on how to register a host. So I have added an option to select an operating system. So for example, if you select Debian, so you have totally different set of instruction on how to register host. And if you select Oracle Linux, then it is pretty much similar to CentOS, but you have to explicitly install the subscription manager. And if you're using SLES or SUSE, then it is also very similar to CentOS, but instead of Yum, you use Zipper here. So that was all about register content host. Now I'll switch to content view filter for apt repositories. So if a user want to use apt repositories, they add the repositories here, then they publish a new version, and those repositories can be used in the new version. But the problem is they have to use all the packages, and sometimes they just want to use certain packages or want to filter out certain packages. So I have added a filter here. You create a new filter. For example, I want to just use Python packages, and I want to include those packages. So I'll save the filter and then add a rule. So you can see here, there is a list of Python packages, but I want to use all the packages, so I can use this. And you can select the architecture as well. If you want to use AMD64 or some other architecture, then save it. Show matching content shows all the packages which will be used in the next version of the content view. So if you publish a new version and wait for it to be published, which takes few seconds. It should be done. Yeah, so now you can see that 61 packages are added. If you go to the version, and here you can see what all packages are added. You can also exclude the packages. For example, if I go to another content view and go to select the repositories, suppose I want to filter packages from these repositories and add the filter. So suppose I want to exclude all the packages with architecture AMD64. So exclude it and add a rule. So all the packages with architecture AMD64 So this show matching content shows what packages will be included or excluded in the next content view version, not the packages that are gonna be in content view version. So here are all the packages that will be excluded in the new published version of content view. So if I publish it now,
Moment. And I try and read. Yes. Okay, we are back up. That's interesting now that that went down. Let me see.
so you can see that the deb packages are added here.
I can. Yeah, we're back.
Here you can see that there is no package which is of architecture AMD 64 because we excluded it. But I double check it and search for anything with architecture AMD 64, there is no package. So this is all about the register content host and CV deb filters from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so I had a feeling that the weather would catch us a bit today, and I think it may have just gotten us towards the end there, but we got back up, so it's okay. Does anybody on the call here have any of the Katello people have any comments or questions? I think this is the first time we've had this demoed, or anyone else, just as the live. I'll leave a minute for questions, just as the live stream recovers. If not, that is okay. Okay. All right, so let's move on to our next demo, which is Chris with Azure Gov Cloud Additions. Please, Chris.
All right, let me share, Melanie. Alrighty, so let me get to that tab here. Can you see it okay?
I can see that just fine.
Okay, so one of a community user actually submitted this. I wanted to demo it because we've had a push to get Azure Gov Cloud from a number of upstream users and also downstream. So I'm going to demo what he created. And this is actually all live right now too. So what I want to first show is I'm going to actually create a compute resource and show what's different in the actual form. And I apologize if it's a little slow. It's on my dev box right now. So I'm going to do Azure Resource Manager. And now you'll see this option called Cloud. So you'll see we can pick the different ones, either public, or we can pick the 3 different government clouds. So that's what it will look like on the new form. We also have that just went in today on that client ID portion. There's actually a documentation button that just went in. I don't know why it's not loading. It'll be just like this, but it will take you to the plugin documentation. So that's just got added in there. It's not in there right now, but on the actual cloud, we can actually see the virtual machines. It functions just like a normal one. So we've actually got the region. And if I actually go to edit, we can see, because the government cloud has different regions compared to your normal regular cloud. So we've got the different regions that we can pick from too. So I'll go ahead and build a compute resource or build a machine real quick. Hopefully it won't take too long. And I am working on some documentation too to kind of get us like how you get started, because there is, with the government cloud, there is a little bit of different things that have to be set up as far as resource groups and etc. So I'm going to go ahead and just build a host real quick, and hopefully the demo gods will be appeased. So we'll go ahead and let's do this, and virtual machine up. That needs to match Azure stuff. So we'll go ahead and our interfaces, that looks fine. It's got my network. So we'll go ahead and submit. And that should set up here. Hopefully it won't take too long. And while that's doing that, we should be able to refresh this page and start seeing Brett-Ditter. Might just take a moment. Oh, and I think I hit the wrong size. So yeah, because I'm on a free subscription, I don't have the right size. So let me just change this guy to a, we'll go to this. Let me just redo the form real quick. Sorry about that. The limitations of a free subscription. All right, and so we'll do virtual machine. Drop him down to here. That should actually work now. And let me refresh this guy. Again, it is a little, it's much faster on a production. It's a little slow because of the dev environment. Just refresh this guy. Yeah, there's Opal. It's starting to get provisioned. We're getting a public IP address. And just so it might take a bit. It took a little bit when I was doing this for testing it, but I'll show you what the host looks like when it's all built. Just because I don't want to just wait for everybody. I just don't want it the demo just to sit there. So this is what the host will look like when it's finished. That one done now. Well, it would look like your normal host. So it will just have a little bit more information because it's from Azure. So it looks like the demo guides. My box is kind of hung up while it's waiting for Azure to come back. So it's not going to show the host, unfortunately. But we can see that it's actually, it is making the records and everything. So we've got our IP address. We've got the machine here, the OS disk it's created. So it's starting to go through all the pieces. It just takes a little bit. So that's all I kind of really had, but I just wanted to show basically the functionality. So it's basically like your normal host creation. And when it gets finished, you'll have just a little bit more information because it is part of the Azure Gov Cloud. So but we can see that it did actually create it. So it's making the disks and everything and so forth. And the actual virtual machine, we can see that it's starting to run it. It's got our IP address here that's publicly accessible right now. You could ping it if you wanted. And it's just getting everything set up. It's running rel 7.3 and so forth. So that's, oh, here we go. Here's the host. So we've got our IP address and so forth. And that's all I had.
It's great,
Oh,
Chris. Oh,
there
yep.
it's all finished.
Excellent.
Imagine that right at the end. All right.
Yes, it's fantastic. So we were spared. We were spared
Yes.
some of our.
Yes, yeah. If it was not a dev box, I'm sure it would be like super quick. So.
Oh yeah, it's super quick. And the at the same time as you recovered, my connection seems to have recovered as well, and we seem to be running a little bit more at speed with less of a delay on the live stream. So that's also good. So if any of you have any questions for Chris or any other demo that you might have been catching up on, just feel free to ask now, and I'll just allow a moment before we move on to the next one. Okie doke. So let me see now. So nothing, all quiet today. So we will move on to our final demo of today, which is another, I don't know, Manuel, have you demoed before on the community demo? Definitely not with me so
Nope,
far.
It's the first time for me.
It's your first time. Well, welcome. You're very welcome, and hopefully it won't be your last. So you're going to talk to us today about the Foreman Vault plugin?
Yes, right.
Excellent.
So you should be able to see my screen now.
I can, yeah.
Perfect. So hello from my side. Today I wanted to show you the Foreman Vault plugin we created to interface Foreman with HashiCorp Vault. To give a little bit of context, for those of you who might not know Vault, it's basically a secret management solution created by HashiCorp. You can store like secrets, passwords, certificates and stuff there, and retrieve them by automated processes, pipelines, or whatever. And the plugin is was created about 2 years ago. We first had one feature which basically just adds two macros to the templating engine of Foreman. Last year, we also added another feature which allows the integration into the orchestration of hosts in Foreman. And that's what I will show you now. So what I have is a local running Vault instance. It's pretty empty, not much in there at the moment. And I also have a local running Foreman instance. And the central piece of the plugin is basically a Vault connection where you can link Foreman to an existing Vault instance. So I basically linked Foreman with my local dev environment, and I used an app role and secret ID for that. You can also go ahead and use a token if you want to. And what we can do now is if we go into provisioning template, so just a normal generic provisioning template, we have two new macros available. The first one is called Vault Secret, and this macro allows you to retrieve data like a secret from Vault during template rendering. So this is just a reference to the name of the Vault connection, which was called localhost. And this is a path inside Vault where the secret is stored. I can show you that as well. If we go into secrets and demo, we can see there's a secret now with a key and a value. And if we go ahead and preview the template, we can see that Foreman connects to Vault and retrieves the data which is set inside Vault, together with some metadata, but you can extract the key like that. The second macro is a way to retrieve a certificate from Vault. So Vault can be basically used as a certificate authority. And this macro allows you to create a new certificate for a given common name using that certificate authority. So we've just seen that if I preview the template again, we get a certificate here, which was generated by Vault during template preview. Okay, so this is the first set of features. And the second feature of the plugin, completely different use case, is the integration into the orchestration of hosts. For that, we added some settings to the plugin, which just configures the default Vault connection, which should be used. We'll see that in a moment. It also can enable and disable the orchestration if you want to stop it for some reason. And it links or sets one default Vault policy template. We'll see that as well. And these settings are configured. You can have a, or we can have a look into the provisioning template, which was linked inside the settings. So it's demo Vault org template, the same one here. And this is basically a template written in HCL, which is the language used inside Vault to define policies, which has a magic comment at the top, which will be used as the policy name. So we basically use the host, the owner of the host, and the name of the host together as the policy name. And this is the content of the policy. And what will happen now, if we create a new host in Foreman, we can do that real quick. Just go ahead and clone this one. Define this as name. I also need the dummy MAC address. And if we lost the name there. Here we go. And if I create this host now, everything worked fine. If we go back to the Vault and have a look at policies, you can see 3 policies were there before. Now there's another one. And the name of the policy, as I've shown, is based on that magic comment in the template. So basically the owner name and the host name. So owner name is admin user and the host name. You can see here, and the content of this policy is the content we specified inside the template. What also happens in the background is the plugin grabs the configured Puppet certificate. So it basically uses, where is it? Here. Yeah. Just have a look, there it is. The plugin grabs this certificate, which normally contains the Puppet certificate, and it deploys a new auth method of type third to Vault, which contains like the host name and some other parameters, where the certificate is basically the same. So it's the content of this file. And it has a limitation to disallowed common name. And what this now allows us to do is the host, the VM, this one, it's basically a Puppet client. And it has got a Puppet certificate, Puppet key, and can use these two parts to communicate with the Vault, log into the Vault, and access these paths or the secrets inside these paths and like read, update, and create them. So we have basically a solution where we can use HashiCorp Vault to store secrets and Puppet to access them later on. So that's it from my side. Feel free to test the plugin yourself and report back if there are any bugs or features missing. And yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Manuel. That was great. So if you have any questions for Manuel, I'll allow a minute or so before, since this is the last demo. I have one thing for Manisha. Manisha, do you use Freenode?
No, IRC, yeah, right. I use IRC.
Do you use IRC? Would you mind, are you in the Foreman channel?
Yes.
There is someone there who would like to talk to you about the new registration flow for Foreman, just to sync up with you on that at some point. Just if you could drop a message into the Foreman IRC at your earliest convenience, that would be great.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so just not, it doesn't have to be now, but whenever you can, and can discuss that. So does anyone have any questions for Manuel?
Yeah, I have one. Would you happen to know how the Vault plugin in the orchestration plays with the Puppet CA, and are you even thinking of solving it? Because I was thinking that it would be great to have like provider certificate provider capability, so you could choose your certificate provider, and maybe we could even provide some default one in core that would just issue self-signed certificates to have at least something, and then the Puppet CA and Vault would be like more robust implementations.
So currently, the plugin just grabs the setting which is configured inside Foreman, and it does not issue a new certificate for the host, but it uses that certificate of the CA to just create the auth method inside Vault. So this is for the second use case I showed, where the client VM can then talk to Vault itself. The first use case where I showed how to generate a certificate based on a Vault public infrastructure, so like certificate authority. That's basically just defined inside the template which certificate authority inside Vault should be used.
Yeah, so it just issues a certificate, and it's up to you,
right,
how you will use the certificate.
Right, it will just issue a new one, and you can pass in like all the parameters which are allowed by Vault, and the configuration of Vault itself. So what certificates can be issued, how long they are valid, and stuff like that. That's up to either the parameters you pass into or the configuration of Vault itself.
Right. So it just enables the access to the certification authority, but doesn't integrate further. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Doc. I will just have one last look for questions. So this is the last chance of the day. And if there are any questions, if you are not watching live, if you're watching the recording, just feel free to ask any questions either on Freenode IRC, on the Foreman community discourse. Feel free to open a thread there. And also if you can also just drop a comment on this YouTube. I check in and I will get some answers for you. So far, thank you, Manuel. I don't see anything so far. So can I share the? So someone is just asking, can you share? One second. Just try to get some clarification. So someone wants to join the Google Meet. Okay, should be possible. Okay, just give me 1 second, guys. This is new. So someone wants to join our session from the live chat, so we will just give a minute. But since we are just at the end now, I would just a reminder that in the description of this YouTube video, there is a link to a survey, and the survey is focused on the redesign of the host details page. So it's a survey specifically about status, substatus, which are relevant to you, which are relevant to your infrastructure. So please take the time to fill that out and shape the direction of the host details page redesign. I don't see this person joining us, so I think perhaps we might call it a day since we don't have any actual demos going on after this. So I would like to thank everybody who presented today, especially Manuel and Manisha, who it was their first time. We hope to see them back again with future updates. I'd like to thank everybody on the live stream. Anyone is welcome to come along and discuss and demo anything that they've been working on, or join us and ask questions. We will be back in 3 weeks, and if you have any questions until then, feel free to reach out to us on IRC or in the community discourse. Thank you very much for watching.